there is a story that Aaron Rodgers and the Jets have verbally agreed on the new contract. Now remember, before Green Bay traded him to the New York Jets, they restructured his deal so that he could fit into the current Jets cap, meaning that he was only going to make $1 million this year. And I'm not making this up. Next year, he was going to make guaranteed $107 million. It's like his name is Mbappe, but it's not.
Right.
So the New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers have verbally agreed to a restructured contract. It has not been announced yet. It has not been signed yet. But once that happens, you can expect those numbers to change dramatically. He's not going to play for $1 million this year, probably 50 times that as the Jets quarterback, and that's real.
Okay.
But that's where we're at now. The New York Jets and Aaron Rodgers have a contract agreed to in place. They got to print it. They got to dot the I's, cross the T's, and sign it.
With all these new contracts, though, with the quarterbacks right now, if you're Aaron Rodgers, wouldn't you want to do this exact contract so you can have AAV contract records for the next 25 years?
Listen, I get to a point where once you're north of, for me, it's $50 million. You can live off that. It's
Bragging
pretty
rights,
good.
though. If you can say, like, oh, your AAV was $60 million, that's cool. $102 million.
$107 million this year. It is good news. It's a paperwork thing. You knew it was going to happen. And now we find out this morning that it is a done deal. All right, let me go around the league a little bit here. Baltimore Ravens tight ends. Funny, we all recognize that Mark Andrews is a top-notch tight end and a key to that Baltimore Raven offense. But we don't hear from Mark Andrews a heck of a lot because you have guys like Travis Kelce who we hear a lot from. They like to talk. He ain't one of those guys. But this is what he had to say about a little leftover bad feelings. And really, for the first time in his really stellar career, there's other options. It's not just a focus on Mark Andrews every third and long. Now you've got real depth at wide receiver. You got the Flowers kid who's a rookie who they're all thrilled about. Of course, OBJ, on and on and on. Yep. This is going to be a new look Ravens offense. But I still think, as much as, listen, it all centers around the quarterback, right? It's all about Lamar Jackson. We don't talk about Mark Andrews enough. Mark Andrews is as good a tight end as there is in the sport.
He really is. I've always recognized that his value and his importance to this team and his relationship and rapport with their quarterback, Lamar Jackson. He's their go-to guy. However, what he's saying, there's a lot of legitimacy to what he's saying.
Yeah.
Because when we watched that playoff game against the Bengals, they had that game in their possession, and it literally got taken away from them from a Bengal and ran into the end zone, and they win that game.
99 yards
with Huntley at the quarterback position. So they're looking at this season like this could be our year. Everybody's looking at Kansas City and the Bengals, obviously, and we all know what Buffalo, where we've always had Buffalo. And I'm not going to say the Jets. I'm not saying the Jets.
You have to say
okay,
the Jets.
I'll say the Jets.
No,
I'll say the Jets.
Let me just say this. You could tell me the Jets aren't winning the Super Bowl, and you need to see it before you'll say it, and I respect that. But we cannot do a show talking about football and you guys totally minimize and discount that the Jets are in the conversation. And I'll give it to you straight.
They've shaken some
it's
things
the Chiefs, it's the Bengals, a little bit of the Bills, the Ravens, and the Jets. I'll show it to you again. Woohoo! In any event, your point was what? Because I wasn't listening.
My point is this team does have a chance to be a contender this year if all things align and they stay healthy. That's been one of the knocks on the Ravens. For whatever reason, they have suffer a lot of injuries, and it kind of dismantles what they want to do and derails who they want to be at the end of the season. But if they can stay healthy, they will definitely be a team that's in contention.
Look, they had two big problems last year, at least in my opinion. One was what you said, obviously. You lose Lamar Jackson, boop. I'm surprised he even made the playoffs. You give them credit for rallying around Huntley, who's not a very good quarterback, and getting there. The second one was, and I remember doing this with you guys every week last year before Timmy joined us, and that was fourth quarter defensive collapses.
Yeah.
They blew leads, frequent double-digit leads, 17-point leads in the fourth quarter last year, which changed from playing a home playoff game to playing, obviously, a road playoff game. But I'll say it a million times on this show. If you are sleeping on the Baltimore Ravens, you are making a terrible mistake. They're as good as anybody in the AFC right now and have to be in the conversation as a Super Bowl contender. Here's something that happens every single year, so you can be used to it. Guess who's out for the Kansas City Chiefs? That's right, Mr. Mouth himself, Kadarius Toney, where he normally is on the sideline, nursing an injury. Unfortunately for him, all jokes aside, it's not some fugazi hamstring. He tore the meniscus on his knee. He underwent successful surgery yesterday on that. This is not like a torn ACL
at all,
where you're out for the year. You guys can speak to it. I can. I know you tore an ACL in your career. The meniscus is like the flap in front, if I'm not mistaken. And the recovery from that, even at this level, is not crazy bad, right?
No.
It's not crazy bad, but this is look, when you have suffered so many injuries and your career is starting to be reeled around being injury prone, it's a concern. This is one of the reasons why the Giants were willing to allow him to pretty much walk away and allow the Chiefs to trade for him. This is great, though, however, for the Chiefs. Sounds crazy, but when you got Patrick Mahomes, you can turn a negative into a positive. When you just acquired Richie James
from the Giants,
you got a young receiver, Rashee Rice, who you believe in.
That was a draft pick, right?
And then you got Sky Moore, who ended the season very well, scored his first touchdown in the Super Bowl. You got guys who are going to be inserted into play now and gain experience right now with the best quarterback in the game. So they're going to be given a lot of opportunities. We know what MVS can do in his role.
Right.
But these are guys that are going to be leaned upon to be a complementary piece to the one guy that we know is a constant in their offense, and that's Travis Kelce.
Sure.
That's why it's not a big deal for me. But if you're Andy Reid, you're a little frustrated because you have schemes drawn up for this guy in particular because he's a special player.
Hey there. Thank you so much for watching The Carton Show. You can subscribe right here to get all the latest bits and segments from the show. And by the way, while you're at it, we have a lot of great shows on FS1, so check them out too.